Hi, welcome back to St. John's Episcopal Church in Oakland's Family Lounge. It's a place where families can gather and talk about their faith and God. Today we are going to talk about drawing God. Okay, get ready to read with us. Last Monday, after a field trip to the art museum, I was inspired to draw like Picasso. The urge to draw something beyond spectacular followed me home and would not leave my side. What should I draw? I thought. I sat quietly, listening to my mind and heart. Then, that's when I heard the whisper, and I decided to draw God. Grabbing a yellow crayon, I drew the best sun. It was so dazzling and radiant, my cheeks throbbed. The rays were so long, they poked at my heart. Staring at the drawing, I knew I had drawn God. The next day, I took my drawing to school and showed my best friend Peter. Look, I drew God. Peter looked at me and chirped, Emma, that's not God, that's the sun. At first, I wanted to argue with Peter because I knew it was God. God is light. But instead, I decided to go home and draw God again. This time, I grabbed a brown crayon and drew a loaf of bread. It was the bread my mother bakes that makes me feel warm and tingly inside when I eat it. My mother said the bread reminds her of God's grace. I looked at the drawing. It made me feel warm and tingly inside. I knew I had drawn God. I took my picture to school. At lunchtime, I showed my almost best friend, Rosie. Look, I drew God, I said. She looked at the picture, and then she looked at me and said, Emma, that's not God, it's a loaf of bread. Again, I wanted to argue. Rosie, this is God. I thought, God is bread, but instead, I decided to go home and draw God again. That night, I sat down and asked God for some help. Please, God, help me draw you, I pleaded. I stared at the blank piece of paper for a while, and then I grabbed a red crayon. I drew a gigantic heart and colored it so hard my crayon disappeared. When it was done, it was the reddest, most beautiful heart I'd ever seen. My heart was thump, thump, thumping. I knew, absolutely positively, I had drawn God. Even Picasso would agree. At lunch, Peter and Rose found me. They asked if I had drawn any more pictures of God from my backpack. I pulled out a folded piece of paper and said, Here's another one. Peter opened the paper and squawked, This is a drawing of a heart, not God. Rosie chimed in, Emma, God is not a Valentine. This time, I wanted to jump up and down and scream, God is love. Instead, I took the drawing back and tucked it away. As I walked home from school, everything felt heavy. That night, I didn't feel like Picasso. Kneeling next to my bed, I asked God for some more help. God, please help me draw you so that my friends can see you. By Friday, it seemed as if everyone in the school knew about God's drawings. Everyone was looking at me. I was waiting for them to point and laugh. But for the first time, I didn't care what anyone thought about my drawings. I felt comfortable that would not leave my side. I knew I had drawn God. God knew I had drawn God. And maybe Picasso knew too. Finally, that felt like enough. But on the following Monday, something spectacular happened. Everyone at school was drawing God, and every picture was different. The end. Welcome back to after reading the story. I think that God looks and is everywhere. And I want you to think about the fact that art is a form of prayer. So when you are drawing a picture of what you see God, then you are also sharing a prayer with yourself and the people who are looking at your drawings. So I encourage you this week to look around and draw some pictures of what you see God. Does it need to be perfect? No. Does it need to be something everyone recognizes? No. Your design, your interpretation of where you see God. Have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye.